Have you ever looked at a job advertisement and thought, I can actually do this job? You have the experience, you have the qualifications, you have the skills, so you apply. And then you apply again, you improve your CV. Eventually, you start wondering, why does getting a job feel so much harder than it used to? And if you've been feeling this way, there's something important you need to understand. It may not simply be that there are not enough jobs. The world of work itself is changing. Employers are changing what they look for. Technology is changing how work is done. And competition for attractive opportunities can be intense. So if you keep using the same job search strategy you used several years ago, you may be competing in today's job market with yesterday's approach. Today, we're going to look at why getting hired can feel harder, what has changed, and what you can actually do about it. There was a time when many jobs were strongly tied to geography. A company needed someone who lived nearby. You found a local opportunity, you applied. Today, that is not always the case. Remote and hybrid work have opened some positions to people who may live much farther away. That can be fantastic for workers. You can potentially apply for opportunities that would never have been available to you before. But there's another side to this. You may also be competing with people you would never have encountered in a traditional local job market. Someone applying for the same position could be sitting in another city, another region, or even another country. So the opportunity can be bigger, but the competition can be bigger too. And that means simply saying, I want this job is not enough. You have to give an employer a reason to think this person could actually help us. Think about the work that you do every day. How much of it involves technology, emails, spreadsheets, customer databases, project management software, online meetings, digital communication, artificial intelligence, automation? The tools people use to do their jobs are changing rapidly. And when the tools change, the skills required to use them effectively can change too. This does not necessarily mean your entire profession is disappearing. Sometimes something more subtle happens. The job remains, but the tasks inside the job actually change. A person who used to spend hours doing repetitive administrative work might now use software to automate some of it. A marketer might use AI to research and generate ideas. A customer service employee might use automated systems to find information faster. A financial professional might use technology to analyze information more efficiently. The person is still needed, but what makes them valuable is changing. That is an important distinction. Okay, this can be difficult to hear. You might have a degree, you might have certificates, you might have years of experience, and those things absolutely matter, don't get me wrong. But employers still need to know, what can you actually do? Imagine two candidates. Candidate number one has several qualifications. Candidate number two has similar qualifications, but can also demonstrate how they've used their skills to solve problems, to improve processes, to communicate with customers, and analyze information or create useful work. The second candidate has given the employer something to evaluate. They have moved beyond, here is what I've studied, to here's actually what I can do. That distinction is becoming increasingly important. Your qualifications can open the door. Your ability to create value helps people understand why they should actually let you walk through that door. Have you ever read a job advertisement and thought, I need to learn all of that? The advertisement lists 10 different skills, then another 5 requirements, then several preferred qualifications, and suddenly you feel completely overwhelmed. So you start watching tutorials, you sign up for courses, you download apps, you save articles, you make a list of 20 things that you need to learn, and 3 months later, you are still trying to learn everything. There's a better approach. Look at several job advertisements for the type of work that you want. Find the skills that appear repeatedly. Then ask yourself, which 2 or 3 skills would make the biggest difference to my ability to get this type of job? Start there. You don't need to become an expert at everything, but you do need to become useful at something. Here's something that can work in your favor. You do not necessarily need to know exactly what your industry will look like 5 years from now. Nobody does. But you can become someone who learns quickly when things actually change. Imagine 2 employees. The first one says, "This is not how we used to do it." The second one says, "Show me how the new system works." That difference actually matters. Being adaptable does not mean accepting every change without question. It means being willing to learn. It means being able to take what you already know and apply it somewhere new. It means being comfortable saying, "I do not know how to do this yet, but I can learn." That word matters. Yet. Now let us talk about something that you can actually change, your CV or your resume. A lot of people describe their previous jobs by listing responsibilities. For example, answered customer queries, managed stock, prepared reports, worked with customers. Those statements tell an employer what you were responsible for, but they do not necessarily tell them what you've achieved. Compare that with resolved customer problems while maintaining clear communication under pressure, or use reporting tools to identify recurring issues and improve the way information was tracked. Now we're starting to see skills, communication skills, problem solving skills, analysis, technology, initiative. Your CV or your resume should not simply tell an employer, "Here are the jobs that I've had." It should help them understand, "Here is what I've learned to do." This is a subtle but powerful change in thinking. Instead of asking, "Where can I find a job?" ask yourself, "What problems can I help a company solve?" A company does not hire someone simply because they need another person. They hire because something needs to be done. A customer needs help, a process needs improving, information needs organizing, sales needs increasing, problems need solving, projects need managing, content needs creating, data needs analyzing, customers need communicating with. When you understand the problem behind the job description, you can position yourself quite differently. You're no longer saying, "Please give me a job." You are actually saying, "Here is what I can contribute." And that is a much stronger position. If getting hired feels harder than it used to, do not immediately assume that you are the problem, but also do not assume that the old way of doing things will continue working either. Start with 3 questions. Be specific, not simply, "I need a job." What kind of job? What industry? What type of environment? What problems would you like to solve? Look at real job advertisements. Don't guess. Look at what companies are actually requesting, then make a list. Then identify the skills that appear most often. Now, this is where you can separate yourself from the crowd. Build something, practice something, create examples, volunteer, take on a small project, use the skill in your current job, create a portfolio, find ways to demonstrate what you can actually do. You don't have to wait for your dream employer to give permission to start developing yourself. You can actually start doing that now. There's another mistake I do not want you making. You might look at your previous career and think, "But none of this is relevant anymore." That is not necessarily true. Maybe you worked in retail, you learned customer service, you learned how to deal with difficult people, you learned how to work under pressure. Maybe you worked in hospitality, you learned communication, organization, and time management. Maybe you worked in administration. You learn systems, organization, and attention to detail. Maybe you worked in a completely different industry. You still learned something. The question is not, "Is my previous job title relevant?" The better question is, "Which skills from my previous experience can I carry into my next opportunity?" That is how you turn experience into leverage. And this is probably the most reassuring thing that I want you to hear. You do not necessarily need to start your life over. You might not need another degree. You might not need to completely change careers. You might simply need to upgrade what you already have. Take your existing experience, add a few valuable skills, learn the technology affecting your industry, improve your communication, become better at solving problems. Learn how to demonstrate your value. Then position yourself differently. You are not starting from zero. You are building from what you already know. Now, before you go, here's today's digital takeaway. Getting hired may feel harder because the world of work is changing, but that does not mean that you are powerless. Do not focus only on finding a job. Focus on becoming someone who can create value in the jobs that are available. Look at what employers need. Find the gaps in your own skills. Choose one thing that you can improve. Build evidence, then go back into the job market stronger than what you were before. One idea, one action, one step closer to the future that you want. You do not have to know exactly where your career will take you. You just need to keep learning, keep adapting, and keep building your value. Keep learning, keep building, keep moving forward. This is the digital hustle. Prepare, build, grow. Remember, nobody gets left behind, and I will see you in the next one.